Please don't die. Please, don't die, the teen whispered as he knelt in the rain, cupping the tiny shaking body in his trembling hands. The wind slammed against the alley walls. Trash cans rattled. Thunder rolled like distant anger, and Malik, a 16-year-old black teen with a torn backpack and soaked hoodie, crouched alone in the darkness, trying to save something smaller, weaker. Something he refused to give up on. A cat. A tiny gray cat, barely breathing. Malik wiped the rain from its fur with his sleeve. "It's okay, little man. I got you. I'm here," he whispered, voice shaking with more fear than he wanted to admit. The cat let out a weak meow so faint it was almost a ghost of a sound. Malik's heart clenched. He knew that sound, knew that helplessness. He'd heard it in his own voice years ago, when he was the one lying in the cold waiting for anyone to care. He pulled the cat closer to his chest, shielding it from the storm. Lights flickered overhead. Somewhere far behind him, people yelled, car horns blared, but Malik felt none of it. Right now, there was only this tiny life in his arms, and the pounding fear that he might already be too late. Malik stood, cradling the cat, and sprinted toward the street. "Hold on, buddy," he whispered, running harder. "I ain't losing you tonight." But as he reached the sidewalk, a long black car, sleek, shining despite the rain, rolled to a sudden stop in front of him. Its headlights blasted white across his face. Malik froze. The back door swung open with a heavy click. A man stepped out, older, tall, wearing a suit that cost more than Malik had seen in a year. His silver watch caught the streetlight, almost blinding. His eyes went straight to Malik's arms. Then something changed in his face. Shock, fear, hope, all at once. "That cat?" the man whispered, voice cracking. "Where did you find him?" Malik tightened his grip protectively. "I ain't stealing him," Malik said, breathless. "He was dying in the alley. I'm trying to help." The man took a shaky step forward. "That's not just any cat," he said. Malik's brow furrowed. The man swallowed, emotion rising in his voice. "That's my cat." And then he whispered the words Malik never expected. "I've been searching for him. For weeks." Rain hammered the pavement like 1,000 tiny drums as Malik held the trembling cat closer, trying to shield it from the cold. The wealthy man stared at the tiny creature in Malik's arms, with an expression so raw, so shaken, that Malik wasn't sure if he should step back, or step closer. The man's voice broke again. "Please, let me see him." Malik hesitated. His whole life had been full of people, taking things from him, opportunities, safety, trust. He wasn't about to just hand something over. Not when this little cat was barely clinging to life. "He needs help," Malik said firmly. "Real help. A vet. Somewhere warm." The man blinked, surprised by Malik's courage. Yes, of course. I'll take him." Malik took a step back. "No, not if you hurt him before." He didn't end up in that alley by himself. Lightning flashed across the sky, illuminating the man's face. Grief, exhaustion, and something deeper. Regret. "I didn't hurt him," the man whispered. "I lost him." The cat whimpered softly in Malik's arms, and the man flinched at the sound like it stabbed him. Malik studied him, really studied him. The man wasn't a liar. He wasn't angry. He wasn't fake. He was broken. "I rescued him from the streets when he was a kitten," the man continued. "He saved my life in ways I can't explain. And when he disappeared, it felt like the last good thing in my world vanished with him." Malik's shoulders eased just a little. The man took a slow breath. "Son, what's your name?" "Malik." "Malik," he whispered, "please let me help him. I have a driver, a vet, on call. Anything he needs." Malik glanced at the black car, expensive, polished, waiting as if it obeyed the man's heartbeat. The driver stepped out, holding a large umbrella, shielding them from the storm. The man looked at Malik again, eyes shining with sincerity. "Come with us. You saved him. Let me make sure he survives." Malik felt a strange tug in his chest. Trust. Something he hadn't felt in a long time. He nodded slowly. Okay, but I'm not letting him go. Not yet. The man smiled a shaky, grateful smile. Then get in, Malik. We ride together. But as Malik stepped toward the car with the cat in his arms, he didn't notice the driver watching him with a strange look. Like he recognized Malik. Like this night was about more than a cat. The car door shut behind Malik with a soft, expensive thud, the kind of sound that belonged to a world far away from his own. The leather seats were warm, the inside smelled like cedar and clean air, and soft yellow lights glowed along the edges. But Malik barely noticed any of it. His focus stayed glued to the trembling cat on his lap, wrapped in his hoodie. "You're okay," he whispered, stroking its head gently. "Just hold on a little longer." The wealthy man slid into the seat beside him, breathing hard like the adrenaline still owned him. "His name is Shadow," he said softly. "He's been with me for 6 years." Malik nodded without looking up. He must be tough, surviving out there alone. The man's eyes softened. He wasn't alone tonight. Those words hit Malik unexpectedly deep. The driver started the engine. Rain streaked down the windows, blurring the city lights into long emotional lines of gold and blue. But the atmosphere shifted, subtle, heavy as Malik felt the driver's gaze repeatedly rising in the rearview mirror, studying him, almost recognizing him. Malik didn't like it. He kept his eyes forward. "So, what's your name?" The man blinked, as if the question startled him back to reality. Leon Whitford." Malik's head snapped up. He knew that name. Everyone in the city did. Real estate empire, 5 hotels, charity foundations, magazine covers, a millionaire. Sitting inches from him, Malik swallowed hard, suddenly aware of his torn hoodie, damp jeans, frayed backpack. But Leon didn't seem to care. "You did something tonight most adults wouldn't do," Leon said quietly. "You didn't run away. You didn't ignore him. You stepped into the storm for a creature you didn't know." Malik shrugged lightly, avoiding eye contact. "I just didn't want him to die alone." Leon's expression tightened, not at the words, but at the way Malik said them, like someone who understood loneliness too well. Malik finally looked up and caught the driver staring again. But this time the driver didn't look away. "Kid," the driver said suddenly, voice low, almost shocked. "You're Malik Johnson, aren't you?" Malik stiffened. His pulse spiked. Leon turned sharply. "You know him?" The driver's eyes softened, but there was gravity behind them. "I've seen his photo before." Leon frowned. "Photo where?" The driver whispered, the one line that made Malik's blood run cold. "He's the boy from the missing person report." Leon gasped. Malik froze, because he never thought anyone would recognize him. Not after all these years. Malik's lungs stopped working. The words hung in the air like thunder that refused to fade. "Missing person report." Leon slowly turned toward him, eyes wide, breath caught in disbelief. "Malik," he whispered, "is that true? Where are you missing?" Malik's throat closed. His fingers clenched around the cat, holding Shadow like a shield between him and the world suddenly closing in. The driver spoke again. Softer now, like someone afraid to break a fragile truth. "It was years ago. I remember the picture. A little boy with the same eyes, same scar on the eyebrow." He nodded toward Malik. "I'm sure of it." Leon watched Malik carefully, gently, the way someone looks at a broken glass about to shatter. "Son, you can tell us." Malik's chest rose and fell unevenly. No, he couldn't tell them. Not the whole story. Not what happened the night he ran. Not why he couldn't go back. He swallowed hard, his voice cracking when it finally slipped out. "I wasn't missing. I just left." The car went silent. Raindrops tapped against the windows like tiny fingers urging him to keep going. Malik stared at his shoes. My mom, she wasn't a bad person. Just lost, sick. Sometimes the world gets too heavy, you know, and I was the only one around when it crushed her. Leon's face softened further, gaze dropping to the trembling cat between them. Malik continued, voice trembling. One night she got mad. Not normal mad. Different. She threw stuff. Screamed things she didn't mean. Told me he bit his lip. Told me I ruined everything. The same sentence that shaped his life. I ran, Malik whispered. I didn't look back. And I wasn't old enough to get a job. Couldn't go back to school. Lived in shelters. Then on the streets. But I didn't go home. Ever. Leon covered his mouth, devastated for a boy he'd only known minutes. The driver's voice cracked softly. Kid, people have been looking for you. You just disappeared. Malik wiped his face with his sleeve, trying to hide the tears. No one should go looking for something that's already broken. Leon shook his head, emotion pushing through his calm facade. Malik, you are not broken. Malik blinked, stunned, but Leon wasn't done. You risked yourself in a storm for a helpless creature. Broken people don't do that. Malik stared at him. Because no one, not one person had spoken to him like that in years. But before he could respond, Shadow let out a painful, hollow cry. The car jerked. The driver's voice rose sharply. He's fading. We need to get him to the vet now. Leon slammed his fist against the seat. Drive. Malik held Shadow tighter, but deep inside, he knew the cat wasn't the only one fighting for life tonight. The car sliced through the rain-soaked streets, tires hissing over puddles, city lights streaking across the windows like smeared neon tears. Malik held Shadow tight against his chest, feeling every faint, weakening breath shake through the tiny body. Stay with me. Stay with me, Malik whispered, panic creeping into his voice. Leon leaned forward, gripping the seat in front of him. Faster, James, faster. The driver didn't say a word. He slammed the gas. The engine roared. Malik wiped the cat's nose gently, refusing to let his shaking hands show fear. Shadow blinked slowly. Too slowly. Malik's heart twisted. He wasn't ready to lose him. Not after everything. Not tonight. Leon placed a hand on Malik's shoulder. Warm, steady, grounding. He's a fighter. He always has been. Malik swallowed hard. I don't want him to die thinking nobody cared. Leon's eyes softened, and his voice broke. He won't. Not tonight. Not with you here. Those words hit Malik harder than he expected. Nobody had ever said that to him. Nobody had ever put faith in him like that. Nobody had ever used you, and here in the same sentence like it meant he mattered. Rain slammed against the windshield. Thunder cracked above Dot suddenly. Shadow's body twitched, a sharp, painful jerk. Shadow, Malik cried, adjusting his hands quickly. Is he breathing? Leon demanded. Malik pressed his ear softly to the tiny chest. A beat, a faint, fragile beat. Yes? But it's slow. Too slow. The car swerved around a corner, pulling into a side street. A glowing blue sign appeared through the sheets of rain. 24-hour emergency vet C. Linnace. The moment the car stopped, Malik threw open the door and ran inside with Shadow in his arms. Leon right behind him. A nurse rushed forward. What happened? He's freezing. Weak. Barely breathing. Malik gasped. The nurse nodded and lifted Shadow carefully. But Shadow let out a broken cry, reaching his tiny paw. Toward Malik, the nurse paused. He trusts you. Stay with us. They ran through the swinging doors, Malik at their side. Machines beeped. Vets gathered. Warm lights glowed. Malik stood there, frozen, soaked, terrified, powerless, but refusing to move. Leon stood beside him, jaw tight, eyes glistening. Minutes stretched. Rain pounded the roof like a heartbeat of the night. Then a vet turned toward them, removing her gloves, her expression unreadable. Malik felt the world tilt. Please, he whispered, voice cracking. Tell me he's okay." The vet exhaled slowly, and what she said next would change everything, not just for Shadow, but for Malik. The vet's eyes softened as she stepped toward Malik, slow, careful, like she was approaching someone standing on the edge of a cliff. Malik's breath trembled. Leon placed a steady hand on his shoulder. The room felt too bright, too quiet, too still. The vet kneeling down to Malik's level made the silence even heavier. "Shadow made it," she said gently. Malik's knees almost buckled. "He's alive," he whispered, barely breathing. "Yes," the vet smiled softly. "He's dehydrated, malnourished, and cold, but he's strong. He held on long enough for us to stabilize him. He wouldn't have survived one more hour in the rain." Malik covered his face. A sob slipped out, small, fragile, but real. Leon exhaled in relief, wiping his eyes. But the vet wasn't finished. She stepped closer and placed a hand on Malik's trembling arm. "Are you okay?" she asked him directly. Malik froze. People didn't ask him that. People asked about chores, mistakes, trouble. Never about him. The question cracked something open, a door he'd kept locked for years. "I'm fine," Malik whispered automatically. The vet watched him for a long moment, like she saw straight through the lie. Leon cleared his throat. "He saved Shadow's life. He ran through the storm. I've never seen anything like it." The vet nodded with respect. "You did something brave. Something kind. Not many people would." Malik swallowed hard, tears slipping down his cheeks despite him trying to wipe them fast. "What happens now?" he whispered. "Will he be okay?" "Yes," the vet said. "He'll need warmth, food, rest, and someone calm to stay with him." Leon looked at Malik immediately. The vet noticed. She tilted her head, studying the connection forming between them. "You said his name is Shadow, right?" Malik asked. "Yes," Leon said. "And he chose you tonight." Malik blinked, stunned. "Chose me?" Leon nodded, voice thick. "Cats don't trust easily, but, Shadow, he reached for you." The vet smiled. "Animals know. They feel hearts better than humans do." Malik stood there, soaked clothes dripping on the clinic floor, feeling something unfamiliar swell in his chest. Worth, not money, not glory, not pity. Worth. Leon placed a gentle hand on Malik's shoulder again. "Malik," he said quietly, "you didn't just save my cat." His voice softened. "You saved me too." Malik looked up, confused. Leon inhaled shakily, because Shadow was all I had left. But before Malik could ask what he meant, the vet turned toward the door. "Come," she said. "There's something you both need to see." Malik's stomach tightened. Something about her voice felt like the next twist of fate was waiting behind the door. The vet pushed open a small side door, the hinges creaking softly. Warm yellow light spilled out, touching Malik's rain-soaked hoodie and making the drops shimmer like tiny stars on his sleeves. "Come in," she said gently. Malik stepped inside, cautiously, Shadow's faint heartbeat still echoing in his mind. Leon followed, slower, quieter, like he already sensed what was waiting for them. The room was small, a recovery room for animals, filled with soft blankets, humming heaters, quiet machines. But Malik barely noticed any of that. His eyes locked instantly on Shadow, lying on a warm pad, tiny chest rising and falling steadily now. Malik felt his entire body sag with relief. He took one step forward and froze, because next to Shadow, there was a collar, a small golden collar, engraved with something Malik hadn't noticed before. The vet picked it up and turned it over. "We cleaned it," she said softly. "This was hidden under his fur." Malik frowned. It didn't look expensive, but it felt important. Leon stepped closer, his face tightening, eyes narrowing at the sight of the collar. "What does it say?" Malik whispered. The vet gently placed it in Malik's palm. Malik's fingers closed around the cold metal, and he turned it over slowly. The engraving hit him like a punch to the chest. If found, return to LW reward, guaranteed. Malik blinked. LW, what's that? Leon swallowed hard. That's me, he whispered. Leon Whitford. The vet turned to Leon. You never mentioned this. Leon stared at the collar, not with pride, but with pain. I didn't put it on him, Leon said slowly. It wasn't me. Malik's heartbeat quickened. Then who did? Leon exhaled shakily. My wife. The room fell silent. Malik's breath caught. Leon's voice dropped to a raw whisper. She made that collar. She gave Shadow to me before she died, said he would protect me, said he would remind me to keep going. Malik's chest tightened. Leon wiped a tear with the back of his hand. When Shadow disappeared, it felt like losing her all over again. Malik stared at him, really stared, seeing not a millionaire, but a man carrying grief he'd hidden from the world. The vet stepped forward softly. There's more, she said. We found something else in Shadow's fur. Malik's heart pounded. She reached into a small tray and pulled out a tiny folded piece of paper, sealed inside a plastic bag. Leon stiffened. Malik whispered, trembling, What is that? The vet handed it to Leon. It was tucked under his collar. Leon opened it slowly, and his face went white. Malik stared at him, breath trapped in his chest. Leon, what does it say? Leon looked up, eyes filled with a shock so deep it hurt to see. It says. His voice cracked. Bring the boy home. Malik froze. What boy? Who wrote that? And why was it hidden on Shadow? The twist was no longer about the cat. It was about him. Malik's whole world, narrowed to 5 words. Bring the boy home. Leon stood frozen, the tiny paper shaking between his fingers. The vet stepped back, sensing the emotional explosion about to break open. The room felt too warm now, too small, too full of truths that had been hiding for far too long. Malik's voice came out small, rough, almost scared. Leon, who wrote that? Leon swallowed hard, eyes still glued to the paper. My wife, he whispered. My wife wrote this. Malik blinked, stunned. But she's gone. Leon nodded slowly, painfully. She died 3 months ago, after fighting cancer for nearly a year. She knew her time was short. She prepared things, letters, messages, little clues for me to find when I needed them most. His breath shook. But this wasn't meant for Shadow to carry. This was hidden for a reason. Malik's heart pounded so hard it hurt. Why would she tell you to bring me home? She didn't even know me? Leon finally lifted his eyes, and the look in them made Malik's stomach twist. She did know you, Leon whispered. Not personally. But she knew your story. Malik's chest tightened. What story? Leon stepped toward him, voice breaking with truth. She volunteered at the Missing Children's Center. She'll read your file, your photo. She followed every update, every lead. She kept asking the workers if they'd found you. Malik's breath stopped. She knew about me, he whispered. Leon nodded, tears finally slipping down. And she told me, if I ever came across a boy who was alone, hurting, lost, a boy who reminded me of the pain she carried, I should do whatever it took to bring him home. Because she believed some children don't get found by authorities. They get found by the right hearts. Malik felt the room tilt. Shadow let out a soft meow on the bed beside them, as if adding his voice to the truth. Leon put a shaking hand on Malik's shoulder. When you appeared tonight, saving Shadow, risking yourself, crying in the rain while holding life in your hands. Leon's voice cracked. I knew. I just knew. Malik's eyes burned. No one ever looked for me like that, he whispered. Leon shook his head gently. That's not true anymore. He took a step closer. Malik, you don't have to survive alone anymore. Come home with me. A real home. A safe one. A warm one. The kind my wife dreamed of for boys like you. Malik's throat closed. He looked down at Shadow, alive because of him. He looked at Leon, offering something he hadn't had in years. Not pity, not charity, family, Malik whispered, voice trembling. Are you sure? You want someone like me? Leon pulled him into a tight, fatherly embrace, the kind Malik had never known. I don't want you, Leon said softly. I choose you. Malik closed his eyes, and for the first time in years, he let himself cry, because this wasn't the end of his story. It was the beginning of a life he never thought he deserved. Moral: sometimes we save a small life, and that life leads us to the one thing we've been searching for all along, a place to belong.